Hey guys, what's up? On this tutorial, we'll start making math operations with Game Creator 2. So let's hop right in. We can see here we have the math category for the instructions, and when we open it, we can see the categories that are available. Today we'll be taking a look on arithmetic. One nice part of these instructions, also the conditions, is that you can check all of them on the documentation. So on Game Creator, Visual Scripting, Actions, Instructions, and we have Math here, which will have the arithmetic and the others. And we also have this for conditions, so the conditions for math. It's nice for you guys to check each condition, each action here. It will have plenty of information, but the same information can be found on each instruction. You can see down here it shows a description of what the instruction does. So these are the instructions for the arithmetic. We have plenty of stuff here, like to absolute a number, to add two numbers, divide them, increment a number, the modulus, which is the rest of the division. We can multiply numbers, we can set a number value. All of these we usually work with variables, so you will have a name variable which will receive this math operation. But there are other stuff. If you have other modules, you'll find that you can change the bag wealth, the amount of a specific item in a bag, and some other stuff like a attribute value. Okay, let's also take a look on the conditions. The conditions for arithmetic are quite simpler. So we have compare decimal and compare integer. These math operations for arithmetic, they will mostly cover using integers and decimal values in many ways you may want. I've made an action here to show some use cases. So we can set a variable number from a decimal. We can make a math operation to set some numbers, so change the player speed, incrementing, adding it with two values, so 1 plus 1. And the best part actually is not the instructions for arithmetic itself, but the properties. So whenever you see a decimal or integer, this field can operate math operations. So whenever you have a decimal, you can make it as a add of decimals, you can make it as a percentage of another value, you can make lots of stuff. It's very nice for you guys to take a look on this one. We also have ceiling and flooring numbers, so you can have integers. There's plenty of stuff. I recommend you guys checking this out, okay? Also, all number values, they are connected with other modules from Game Creator. So let's say we want to change a stat and set it, so we can see decimal here. We can make a math operation over it, so let's multiply decimals, and let's say this stat, it will be calculated by another stat times 2, let's say. So we have that one stat is equal to another stat times 2. These math operations are very useful when creating systems, some advanced logic. You'll be using plenty of them, okay? You can also set text objects to a decimal value. So as you can see here, it comes like this. So we have the text. On the text, we have the set text instruction, where you can pick to show a number decimal, and this number decimal can be calculated by math. You can set it by stat value, items, the amount of items you have on a bag, but you can also make operations. So let's say that our text will be some stat times 1.5, an example. On variables yet, so as we can set number values, they can also be used. So one example is on loading scenes. You can set up your scenes to set a variable that says which index that scene is. So when loading the game, you can load the scene from what you have saved from that variable. Okay. We also have like force instructions, so adding pools. Let me simplify it here. So adding pools 10 to self, and then we can make some math operations with that. Let's say like clamp. So we have a number which can be a stat value, for example, and we're gonna clamp it between 2 and 5. So we're gonna add an impulse which will be calculated by this stat from player, and it will be clamped between 2 and 5. So this is very awesome. You can get pretty creative on these math operations. There's pretty little limitations on that. They are very handful. Okay. Let's also take a look on conditions. So we can also make math operations on our conditions. So we can have if 2 times 2 less or equal to 4, but we could also have this be made up with stat values or attribute values or attribute ratios. Pretty much every decimal value from the modules you will find a reference here, and you can make math operations with it. Okay, so by example this, we have a if 2 times a stat from a ratio from this attribute from the player is less or equal to a stat from the player. Okay, also for conditions we have this toggle. So we can make if is or if not. Okay. It can also be used on stats conditions. So if you have stats modulo, you can be checking if a stat from player is equal, different, less or equal, and you can do math operation on these values. So let's say we have a stat value that is added by 2, and in fact let's change it to multiply. So we have a stat value that is multiplied by 2, and then it will be added to 15. And if player stats is equal to some stat times 2 plus 15. Very nice. You can also use this with number of items, with scene index. So let's say the scene index we can have by this variable. So you have a variable for the index that you set with this instruction, and then you can check if that scene is loaded. This is a nice example. Okay. And the math conditions itself, as we took a look on them, it's this first one. So the comparison of numbers. I've made a canvas here so we can test some stuff. Let me open here. I have so I have this instruction with set text. For this text, to a number decimal, multiply decimals 15 times 3. I'm gonna enter play mode. Okay, we are in play mode, so 15 times 3, it's 45. If it's times 4, it's 60. We can also have a modulus decimal. So let's say we are calculating minutes, which would be the divide decimals, and then we want what is the rest, the seconds. So we'd have like 150 seconds modulo by 60, so 30 seconds left. This is the modulus. There is plenty of stuff for you guys to try here. So let's say a number of decimal, floor decimal from a random range which starts on 0 and ends on 2. Okay, as you can see, it changes. We can increase this value, so we have more numbers. But yeah, this will floor whatever value comes from this to the lowest integer next to it. We also have ceil, which will do the same thing, but for the integer above. So on this we can have the 2, and on the other we mostly get 1 because of flooring and sealing. Okay, this is just a simple example, but I hope this can show you guys the power of the math operations on Game Creator 2. You can get pretty creative on that. You can do lots of stuff with this. You just need to learn how to do right references, the scope of the calculations, so you can see here how the operations are being handled, what is multiplying what, and then let's say we have a add decimals here, so you can see the parentheses with these add decimals, and then comes the multiply. It's important for you guys to have this according to how math operations would actually work. So that's it for this video, guys. Hope you have enjoyed, and I hope this helps you get on track with math operations on Game Creator 2, because they are very useful. These properties are quite most useful, they are so nice. And on next videos we'll be making some more complex stuff, more complex systems, and these math operations will be our basis to get the work done on these next steps. Okay, see you guys in the next one. Cheers!